Hello and welcome to Business24, coming to you as usual from the Central Business District, Abuja. We have an interesting package ahead. I'm Chumobi Walter Naji. Now, Nigeria recorded a trade deficit of 3.06 trillion naira in the international trade of manufactured goods, beverages and tobacco in 3 years and 3 months. However, analysis from data released by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that from January 2015 to March 2018, the country's total trade in manufactured goods, beverages and tobacco was put at 3.42 trillion naira. Now, how much more can local manufacturers do to increase the volume of Nigeria's export potentials? And what areas should receive a boost in keying into the enormous bilateral trade relations the present administration has entered into? We will bring you some reports on financing and small businesses in this edition. We also have our regulars moving Nigeria beyond oil, our entrepreneur who doubles as the CEO of the week. There is also the performance of the capital market for the week. All these are packed for your delight after this timeout. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Now let's get down to business. For businesses to grow, one issue that comes to bear is access to finance, and this is key for the expansion of both small, medium and macro enterprises. This has created some sort of impediment for quality business models to thrive. Kunle Adeye sought answers and presents his findings.
Of Nigeria's 190 million population, up to 90 million is said to be excluded from financial services. This means that just over 50% of Nigerians have access to financial services. Of those that do not have bank accounts or excluded from financial services, the economy suffers from their absence as they cannot contribute to its growth and benefit as well. The financial services that seem far from the reach of many Nigerians range from personal, mortgage or business loans, savings and payments, remittances, pensions, capital markets and insurance services. Access to credit appears to be the most troubling, as just about 4% of Nigerians succeed in getting loans from the banks, whether for personal or business purposes. High lending rate, which is mostly at double digits, sometimes reaching 26% in some cases, makes the appetite for loans fizzle out as many people are discouraged from even attempting to borrow. This widens the gulf of financial exclusion, where people who could ordinarily impact positively on the economy are shut out. Probing further, Business24 came across 45-year-old Onyeche James, who sells roasted yam and plantain. From her submissions, she belongs to the class of those excluded from financial services. She says she has good concepts that can expand the business. However, that can only be achieved if she is able to access these services.
I no get bank account. I no say anywhere I go collect loan. If you give me, I go collect am.
Blessing Uja, a roadside chef, has a bank account but of no use, according to her.
Yes, I have bank account, but I'm not operating it again because I don't have the money. The business I'm doing is not moving. There's no money. If you come to market, you just sit down and be sleeping, tired. I don't know if government can help people, if they can give us money so that we will upgrade the business. Maybe money will come small, then we'll upgrade the account.
34-year-old Desmond Chinonso Okeke, a graduate of plant science and biotechnology from Abia State University, is into furniture. Having mastered the dynamics of the trade from his father, Desmond is constrained by lack of access to loans and other services that can boost his business.
What I understand by financial services is having access to bank loans and also having access to insurances like pension and other things that is attached to it. And we, now that we're here, we need those facilities, those things. If government can provide it for us, that hand workers, as in people that produces furnitures here at Kubu Furniture Market, I think life will be better for us here. You see, we need these financial services. We need loan so that we can enlarge our businesses. Those of us that are low income earners here, we need places like showroom where we can showcase our furnitures. Like our weather is not always conducive for some of the furnitures that we produce here, and it tends to spoil it over time.
An investment promotion and economic development expert, Ogbonna Okuku, offers tips on how to check this imbalance.
What we need to do is the development finance institutions, as it is all over the world, must stand up to a point where they now become major competitors to the commercial banks. And then again, let me also put it this way. Development finance institutions are used to grow transactions to a sustainable level where the commercial bank sees you viable, and then they come to you. If you notice, people always tell you that they go to commercial banks when they didn't have money and they didn't want to respond to them. But as soon as they became probably wealthier, the commercial banks will come to you, because that's how they are designed. So you see, there's a big lacuna that our economic managers always forget, that it is not the problem of the commercial bank. It is actually what you have done with your development finance institutions.
Focus on small-scale business has always been advocated in Nigeria, as it is one of the major factors that drive the economy. Kunle Adeyeye for Business24.
And still on financing, you may have heard of the Isuzu or Ajo system, where a man or sometimes woman back in the days goes around the market or even shops collecting daily contributions. Well, they are still much around, and it was a pretty effective system of savings for petty businesses. I understand the level has changed, though, as microfinance banks have come into the business and have given it a modern touch. But what is that doing to enhance access to finance for small businesses? Sophie Boomer went to some markets in Abuja, and here are her findings.
Depending on how old you are, you may recall a phenomenon that used to be called the Baba Ajo, who used to go round with a bag and notebook collecting daily contributions from traders. That traditional thrift system still exists in some of our societies, but the business is being given a modern edge by financial institutions to the benefit of all the parties involved. I have been talking with some of the interested parties. It is common to see small contributing savings schemes where traders contribute a daily portion of their trading profits all over Nigeria. In Yoruba language, these savings schemes are called Ajo, while in the north it is called Adashi, and in the east, Isuzu. This group savings serve as lifesavers in emergencies and also acts as a primitive saving culture for their businesses, as observed by Ejike and his fellow traders at Wuse markets in Abuja.
The first travel I traveled to Dubai 2006, I started from daily contribution because my dream is to travel to Dubai during 2006, and I started doing daily contribution, saving 5,000 naira on daily basis. Within 6-8 months, I gathered all and traveled with it to Dubai.
If I have some money, something to spend anyhow, I will budget of say to pay of that contribute. If they come every day, I normally pay 5,000 every day. Sometimes if I have 3,000, I will be struggle to add more 2,000 so that I will complete. But to say I'm not doing that contribute now, I will use money as I want.
The institution realized its profitability. It started with the defunct People's Bank, and now microfinance banks are giving it a modern touch. It has become a source of financing for small traders who are extended loans through the schemes.
Microfinance sector will go to those members of the Thrift Society to collect their money, the money they generate on a daily basis. You know, thrifts, they are the people that are at lower pyramid in the financial sector. So we collect money, their daily savings from them. And then when they want loan, They will still come back to the bank to collect loan.
Contrary to the early forms which operated on a fixed-term deposit strategy.
That line of this in the if you check in those days, they have a card where they normally mark. So if you don't get to that particular day, invariably you cannot withdraw. So it's more of like it's a fixed thing, and you have a particular amount that this person saves with you, and there are charges too. Like maybe in the first day of your making deposits, the person that is collecting that money says, I own the first payment for the month. Then the rest of the ones for the month is now yours. So the difference basically within then and now is that from the first day you are saving is your money. You don't need to tell this person that I need to come and collect. You can just walk into the bank at any time and pick your money that you have. So that is basically difference within what you have in those days and now.
Indeed, AGK and fellow traders are deriving immense benefit from this new phase of the thrift savings life cycle. This may not be a goodbye after all for Baba Ajo and his likes, but just that more investors are coming into the business, and that should be good for small businesses. In Abuja, Sophie Boomer for Business24.
Indeed, the thrift system is still very viable in the Nigerian financial system. However, there are new dimensions to the savings and financing of enterprises. Now, one of such new trends is the cryptocurrency. This has got the whole world talking and countries taking positions to protect their currencies from perceived invasion. While some people describe it as a Ponzi scheme, of course, some see it as an investment opportunity and even describe it as the future. Kunle Adeye spoke with some cryptocurrency experts and tells us more.
The trade in cryptocurrency is not the easiest to understand. It can be complex, but many Nigerians have come to master the dynamics. The reason is not far-fetched. As at January 2017, Bitcoin sold for about $800. By 15th December 2017, Bitcoin had risen to $17,900 before dropping to $13,800 a week later. It sounds like a fairy tale.
Started in January with only $500 to a coin. You know, nobody even thought that it was going to hit $5,000, but it hit $20,000. You know, I do know for sure that Bitcoin will surpass the $25,000 by January.
Ibok Efyong is a former banker who left her job to concentrate on a business organized around cryptocurrency. There are over 1,000 of them, but the most popular is Bitcoin, which has since become synonymous with cryptocurrency. Ibok trades in many of these digital currencies and has become so successful that she is considered one of the leaders in Nigeria.
Sometime last year when we started this business, you know, we were educating people about cryptocurrency in general. And the whole idea was that it was a Ponzi scheme. And we tried to make people realize, no, it's not a Ponzi scheme. It's more like you investing in a currency that is the future.
Ibok does not just trade for herself, but has become so adept in the business of cryptocurrency that she now runs a training center in Abuja. To her, cryptocurrency has come to stay.
Already Nigeria is too late, you know, on coming on board with cryptocurrency. Unfortunately, we've been late on a lot of things, you know. When it came to ATM cards, it took our country over 12 years for ATM cards to come into Nigeria. Even mobile phones, it took us, you know, quite a while for mobile phones to come into Nigeria. So cryptocurrency, yes, it is late. You know, it was late for us to adopt, you know, cryptocurrency, but still, I think we're doing well moving forward.
Ibok is just one of many Nigerians who have bitten the bug and become hooked on trading in cryptocurrency. Kennedy Angbo is another. He has been actively trading in various digital currencies for a few years and can only see the profitable side.
Currencies will keep evolving, but you must trace the history of currency. The reason why cryptocurrency came into being was as a result of the series of failures in the fiat currency, especially the 2008 financial meltdown.
On the other side, however, is cybersecurity expert Abdul Hakim Ajijola. He advocates caution.
So the issue is not whether or if. It will be when. There will be not one, not two, not 100. There will be many cyber attacks. Cyber attacks will become just a way of life. So there are two questions. The first question is, as a society, beyond government now, all of us, what do we do to mitigate? How do we prevent it? And how do we become resilient?
By the first week of January 2018, the price of Bitcoin was again on the upward swing, trading for $15,152. For Ibok, looking into the future, it means only one thing.
Actually, the future of Bitcoin looks very promising in the sense that, the more people that get to understand this whole business of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, more people will want to invest in it because they know that, it's a good way of preserving your money. Truly, our value of currency keeps depreciating because, our government keeps minting and printing currencies. Now, with Bitcoin, it's the reverse. It has a fixed quantity, and anything that has a fixed quantity, appreciates over time. So I know the future for Bitcoin still looks very promising. So I always advise people, it's not too late to invest in Bitcoin. It's still a good time to invest in Bitcoin because about 6 to 10% of the whole world knows about Bitcoin. So imagine when we get to about, 20, 30, 40, 50, percent of the world.
Still staying with the financial market, here is how it all fared on the capital market.
It was another red day on the Nigerian Stock Exchange on Thursday, the last day of trading this week, as trading activities recorded second straight day of losses. The NSE All Share Index dropped by 0.26% and closed at 38,928.47. Also, market capitalization lost to close at 14.101 trillion naira. 336 million shares were traded by investors in 3,667 deals valued at over 5.2 billion naira. Okomu Oil gained 10.24% and was followed by Ikeja Hotel and Japao Oil. On the other hand, Mutual Benefit Insurance and NIMET led the losers chart. Transactions in the shares of United Capital PLC topped the activity chart with 101 million shares exchanged.
Now to the CEO of the week, Rufun Ibrahim Joro is the General Manager of Green Jobs Limited. Comfort Amodu tells us all about him.
Water is a necessity, and every household requires continuous water supply to meet their basic water needs. According to data from UNICEF, more than 110 million people lack access to improved sanitation, with open defecation put at 28.5%, which can be harmful to human health. The federal government, over the years through several administrations, has evolved measures to meet the Goal 8 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, which targets to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation, especially at the grassroots level. This perhaps informed the creative innovation by a water consultant, Rufun Ibrahim Joro, the General Manager, Green Jobs Limited, Abuja, to tackle the existing problems of potable water supply, drip irrigation for agriculture and banking system to make it more inclusive for rural communities. Rufun explained that technology has come to play a vital role in advancing services globally. This led him into the world of providing this much-needed service to Nigerians through his company.
Green Jobs introduced the first in Nigeria what we call the water ATM. The water ATM is an electronic system used for payment of water services. The reason why water is a challenge in Nigeria is because people don't pay bills. And the reason why people don't pay bills is because it's an open-ended system. A cash-based system is always prone to leakages. So when people pay water bills, it doesn't get to the government eventually.
However, Due to the challenges of recovering revenue derived from water consumers, Green Jobs, through its innovation and public-private partnership arrangement, introduced an electronic water system to generate data for easy water dispensing, efficient revenue collection, and smart water management. These, he says, will impose confidence of consumers in the water sector.
We installed the first water ATM kiosk in Taraba State. Interestingly, the Taraba State government was one of the first people who opted for that technology and accepted to use it. What we are doing is that we are going to install a number of ATMs within the water grid so that the state will be able to collect water rates and pay back the loans that it took to build these utility systems.
How effective is this technology?
The mindset of people is beginning to change. People know that they're already paying somehow for water. It's either they buy from the push or they trek a distance to get water, or in some cases they drink bad water and they fall sick and they need to pay bills at the hospital. So somehow you're already paying for water. But this time around, the water is brought to your doorstep and you need to pay just a token for it, and I think it's worthwhile.
Apart from improved water supply and easy access to potable water, he says the water automated teller machine makes it easier for people to buy water at a cheaper and affordable rate.
If you ask people to pay 50 kobo per liter or less, you would find out that they are paying less for good water, and then the money goes to a transparent system where it can readily be used to fix the borehole whenever it gets bad. So we are trying to create a value chain system that says that if you keep accruing money and the borehole doesn't go bad, for instance, or you have excess after a while, you can take part of that money and put it back in a community in in some form of a CSR, or to empower women or youth or somehow. So the money doesn't just keep getting built up in the ATM system. Just like electricity, if you do not have a band for pricing, it is difficult to find entrepreneurs who will go into that business. Now, if you go into peri-urban areas, you will find people who dig boreholes and are selling water. But government cannot keep a tab because they don't even pay tax. They just punch the ground and then take abstract water and sell. They could sell 1 million liters and not give government a dime. So if we are working with government to find how we can effectively regulate that system, so that if you're an official water vendor, then you have to have installations that make us meter and know how much water you are selling and how much you can pay back to the government. You cannot just abstract water from on the ground and just sell it to people, make money and not pay tax for it. It's not fair. So as a business, we are helping government to model that system that allows them to be able to get something for the water that is being sold.
With the innovation of the water ATM, it will be easier for the government to achieve its SDGs targets towards integrated value water collection, water management for sustainable water supply. For Business24, Kamfu Tamadu.
Next, we join our in-house expert for those very insightful export tips.
Hello and welcome once again to Export Tips, the classroom where you learn the A to Z of exports. But let's continue on the series on the things that you must do. Has anybody considered the market of West Africa? So you can decide your markets are niches, they are either close to you, they are far away, or you are looking at, you could decide to use West Africa as your immediate market as you prepare yourself for the rest of the world. So trade can be domestic, it can be regional like West Africa, it can be continental, or it can be global where you are actually addressing yourself to the rest of the world. You should use the local market as your test case. My export product, if I entered into ShopRite and I saw this thing, will I buy it? That's one of the first tests that you can actually put your product through. If it cannot be appealing to you, it's very, very possible that it will not be appealing to any other person. Exporting is a process and not a transaction. So we talked about the different things that you need to do at the different stages of exporting. But at no point have I talked about getting paid. And I guess that is one of the most important what do you call it, segments of that value chain. What's the essence of shipping your things abroad if they are going to get rejected anyway, or the man is going to penalize you? That's another word that you come across in the export market, penalty. It's either premium or penalty. You could earn premium for exporting the highest quality or for being very versatile and complete in your documentation, or you could earn penalty for not doing any of this right. How do you get paid once the orders start to come in? Do you just jump on board and start to ship without having, how do I put it, cushioned yourself, ensured that you are going to get paid for that order? This is the area where you actually need to refer to the export offer. Are you selling free on board, or are you selling cost and freight, or are you selling cost, insurance and freight? All these determine the payment option. If you are selling free on board, it means that you can only charge for the unit price of your product. You have added the cost of taking it, maybe from farm gate all the way. If you warehoused it somewhere in Isolo before it got to the port in Apapa, the cost of handling and all of this, everything that goes into the costing of that product until it lands on board. That is the OB, free on board or freight on board, until it gets to the board of the ship. And then, of course, your profit margin. That's your FOB price. The buyer might say he wants you to arrange insurance, or he will arrange insurance, he wants you to arrange freight, or he can do any combination he wants. He might decide it is cost and insurance. These are payment terms. Payment options could be by letter of credit. And if it is letter of credit, believe me, you need to be absolutely correct, even to the commas and full stops in the letter of credit.
Well, that's the size of our package this week. Keep those mails coming, and let's take the conversation further to the platform on your screen. Till next week, I'm Chimobi Walter Naji. Bye for now.